What is happening, Evers? I just realized I have the wrong thing selected here on screen. Here we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to... still have the wrong thing selected. Here we go. This one? No, that's not it. That's not it. That's certainly not it. That's not it. All right, let's go here. Add this. There we go. That was weird. All right, so now we're cooking, Matt. So, what's up, everybody? Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Clearly, we've got a good grasp on what's going on here. It doesn't matter, though, because I am joined by... There's only one thing hotter than Matt at DFS right now, and that is raging debates about how many people it would take to bring down a silverback gorilla. Other than that, that's the only thing hotter than Matt Bellman playing DFS right now, because he has been winning GPPs left and right. You won, what was it, the $250 4-entry max last night. I know you won one of the higher dollar small entry fields last night. You also won the big showdown contest last night. So guys, do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Matt, how does it feel to be on just the heater of all heaters?
It feels good, man. I mean, you know that feeling, like when you're going through it, you feel like you never want it to end, obviously, but just got to take it day by day and hopefully can continue it tonight. My main priority right now is making sure I'm not muted in playback. So I think I got that taken care of. We know that is an always hot topic as soon as the show starts. So I should be good. Always look forward to these Friday night. Oh my God, someone said I'm muted. So yeah, I guess all my efforts was a fruitless endeavor. I'm gonna hop out and rejoin. But yeah, it's been a good run. Love these Friday night shows. Finally, a show that we're doing like up until lock. Usually the show's been a little earlier, so excited to break this one down with you.
Yeah, and some of these shows, we don't know exactly what the timing is. Some of them are going to be in advance just because of the nature of the NBA schedule right now. Like, didn't know a couple days ago there was going to only be one NBA game locking at 9 today, and then Sunday. We have no clue what the Sunday NBA schedule is going to be. It could be afternoon, could be night. We'll see. We will see. But anyway, like I said, guys, do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, want to let you all know that if you do want to sign up for a package today, I've got a pretty good deal for you, because you can sign up for an MLB Sims Max package for just $1 with the promo code Robbie, ROBBIE, link down below in the YouTube description box. Why Robbie? Because Robbie Ray is mega chalky today. We have him projected, as you see here on the screen, for 53% ownership on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, he's projected for 42% ownership. He's going to have a massive talking point on today's slate. He's pitching at home against this crappy Colorado Rockies team. He's not priced expensively. He's $8,600 on DraftKings. He's $8,400 on FanDuel. He's the most important piece of the slate. And that's why if you guys sign up with the promo code Robbie, you get access to an MLB Sims Max package for just $1. So take advantage of that if you guys haven't already. By the way, did you get yourself situated in playback, Matt?
Yeah, I should be good now. Make sure someone confirmed that, but I don't know what it is, but I should be good now.
Technology. That's the way things go sometimes. Usually we just start by talking about the most expensive pitchers, which, obviously we're still going to be talking about the expensive pitchers and Tyreek Skubal, the chalk on him. But what I really want to do is start by talking about the Robbie Ray chalk, because it's so important for the slate on both DraftKings and FanDuel. And obviously cash games, we bring this up usually whenever there's a pitcher this chalky. Just play him in cash. On FanDuel, he's your pitcher. On DraftKings, he's one of your two pitchers. Skubal's the other one. What do you make of him in tournaments relative to what this ownership is?
I think he's way overowned. I mean, we deal with that a lot when we're talking about the top pitcher tool and the guys up top. I mean, frequently the top guy or top 2 or 3 guys are going to be overowned, but it's dramatic here for a guy that I never like playing as chalk. Like, I get it. He's facing the Rockies. He's too cheap. He's got one of, if not the highest strikeout prop on the board. So it makes a lot of sense. For me, I'm more apt to get off of Ray than play him personally. I'm playing 5 lineups tonight. That doesn't mean I'm not going to play any of him, but I might not play any of him. I just don't love it as really chalky here on a slate with other really good pitching options. Again, I got no problem playing popular pitchers. So, like, I wouldn't fault you for just saying you're going to lock Ray or play match the field or just be really highly exposed to him. For me, he's just the type of guy I don't love playing as chalk anyways. And when we've got other really good options that would be really, really popular on a lot of other slates. I'm more apt personally to get away from him. How do you see it?
Yeah, I'm getting to him in the sim, so I'm just kind of riding with it. He's in 3/4 of my lineup, showed up in 76%. So he looks like somebody that I'm going to be playing. He's going to be most I mean, like if you're getting somebody at 76%, just that's going to be your most rostered pitcher. Like there's no way to be like, hey, it's 76% on, but there's 3 other guys I like more than him. Like it just isn't possible. So I'm playing a ton of Robbie Ray. I'll differentiate elsewhere. One thing that does help us, and I'll give you guys a little bit of a sneak preview here of the stacks that we're going to be talking about in a little bit. But because we do have a pretty big slate today, the ownership is pretty spread out at offense. We only have one team pulling more than 9% ownership. It's the Dodgers. Then the Royals are 8.5% owned. It's just so spread out at offense ownership that I feel like it's pretty easy to have a non-duped lineup, or at least not a lineup that's super heavily duped with Robbie Ray. And I'll just be like, hey, here's a piece of chalk I'm playing. I'll get a little bit different elsewhere. And it's easy to do that when there isn't like one team that we love at offense. It's like 40% of that's not really a real thing, but like there isn't one offense it's like 15% owned or anything like that.
Yeah, I guess for me, like, this is a little bit hard to articulate. It's not that I'm like overly concerned with how owned he is and like getting different with my lineups. It's more that I just think he's over-owned with a real chance to fail. Like, I know his upside is really high, but he's always a guy that can fail with other really good pitchers on the slate. So I guess that's a long-winded way of saying, like, yeah, I think he's over-owned, but I see your points also. Like, it's not like I'm worried about chopping with Robbie Ray. I mean, there's 20 offenses to get to on this slate. So I think if you like Robbie Ray enough, you just play him. I personally think there's other pitchers that look close to as good as him that aren't getting close to his own.
All right, so before we talk about the pay-up options like Skubal and Yamamoto, I want to know then, who's your favorite pivot off of Robbie Ray? Who's a guy who, I guess it doesn't have to be somebody who's priced comparably to him, but maybe it is. But who's somebody that you like for today's slate? I think I might know who it is because there's a pitcher I'm pretty well overweight to the field too. But is there somebody you like as a pivot off of Robbie Ray?
Not just like Love, my favorite pitcher on the slate. Irregardless of Ray being on the slate, it's Framber Valdez.
Can I guess?
Yeah, oh, sorry.
Is it Framber Valdez?
It is. It is Framber Valdez. I mean, he gets an even better spot than Ray here. You could argue that. I mean, it's semantics. We've talked about that at length already. Like, both these offenses stink. He's really cheap, really good pitching weather. He's coming off a start against Kansas City where he really struggled early and then settled down and was, frankly, dominant for the last 5 innings through a complete game because he got the loss, only 8 innings. I like buying Valdez right now at lower ownership at basically the same price point as Robbie Ray. I think his upside here is higher than normal just because of the matchup. Again, great pitching weather. I'm extremely high on Valdez here, and it's just an added boost for me that he's a contrarian option off of Ray.
Yeah, and you look at his numbers this year, and, not great to start the year. It has only been 6 starts. He's a guy, though, who we've got a pretty good sample size of him being a solid starting pitcher. He's been, not like ace, but like a good number 2 starting pitcher every year now since 2020. So I'm not too concerned about the slow start to the season. Yeah, he's got a 4 ERA, a 4.22 expected ERA. The strikeout stuff hasn't been great. He's never historically been a great strikeout pitcher, 23.5% for his career to 21%. But I'll take the last, 5 years of data over the first 6 starts of this season. I think Framber Valdez bounces back. And what better time to start bouncing back than you're pitching against this hapless Chicago White Sox offense? So I totally agree with you. Relative to ownership, actually, Framber Valdez is the guy that I'm most overweight to, Matt.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like we're on the same page with him often. He's just a very good pitcher, and, he's not getting a lot of ownership today just because the other options look a little bit better than him. So, cool.
Yeah, so Framber Valdez, also somebody who I can get behind for tonight. And now let's talk about the expensive pitchers. We've got one who's really popular. We've got one who's less popular in the 10K range. Then we got some guys in the 9K range that just aren't really pulling ownership. Skubal, 40% owned. Then we got Yamamoto at 8% owned. Max Fried is 9% owned. Chris Bassett, 5% owned. We've got Joe Ryan on the road against Boston. He's 9% owned. Of the pitchers who are 9K and above, is Skubal your favorite with all the ownership going to him? Is there somebody else that you like pressing on?
Pretty easily Skubal for me, especially because I'm under on Robbie Ray. No reason for me to be under on Skubal also. I mean, he's expensive, but ton of cheap bats, cheap pitchers I like. I mean, Valdez is cheap. There's a really cheap pitcher who we'll talk about. The Angels have been awful against left-handed pitching, striking out a ton. No Mike Trout. You know, he's arguably the best pitcher in baseball. One of, if not the best DFS pitcher. Like, it's baseball. Anything can happen. But he looks like, raw points-wise, the best pitcher on the slate. I mean, if we were just doing a draft and we had to draft who we thought would be the top overall scoring pitcher, I think everyone or mostly everyone would draft Skubal here. I don't feel any differently. So he's a guy I'm high on here.
Yeah, I've got a good amount of Skubal, although not all that much different from the field. I don't have like any kind of real stand here. He is in 40% of the field's lineups. He's in 43% of my lineup. So right in line with the field here. I think the ownership is high, but it looks appropriate to me. And then circling back to what I'd said at the top, Robbie Ray, Tariq Skubal, easy cash game combination. Don't have to put a second thought into it. Framber Valdez, like, yeah, I like him for a GPP target and he's worth getting to, but for cash games, you're going to Framber Valdez and Tariq Skubal. Is there anybody like as a pivot off of Skubal on this high range, or is it just Framber Valdez and saving a little bit of salary?
Yeah, not really. I just think that the top guys between Skubal, even Robbie Ray, Valdez look really good. You know, I'm not playing a ton of lineups, so I don't need to get too off the board here. If I were playing 150, I would have some exposure like Yamamoto, but I can't imagine in like smaller field stuff playing him over Skubal in this spot.
Yeah, makes sense to me. So we've already talked about the 8K range a little bit here because we touched on Robbie Ray and then Framber Valdez as a pivot option. He was, you know, somewhat contrarian at 17%. I know that technically he is the third most popular pitcher on the slate because nobody else is even double-digit owned, but still, I view him as like somewhat of a contrarian option when you consider the matchup and then how chalky the other top two pitchers are. Anybody else that stands out to you in the 8K range?
No, it's funny. I view Valdez the same way, though. Like, he's not contrarian in an overall sense, but he's contrarian getting off of Robbie Ray because Ray is so highly owned.
I have a little bit of interest in Brian Wu. If you're only playing 1, 2, 3 lineups, Wu wouldn't be in any of them, but this guy just might be elite. Last year, he had a 2.89 ERA and a 2.72 expected ERA. This year, he's opened up the year with a 3.09 ERA and a 2.98 expected ERA. He is going to be on the road, which is a little bit of a park downgrade for him because he used to pitching at home in Seattle, which is a super pitcher-friendly park. But this guy's been good from the jump. We've now seen him make 45 big league starts. He's got an ERA 3.4. The underlying numbers even better than the actual numbers. Not a crazy high strikeout rate, but still 23.6% this year. That's decent relative to his salary. So I'm just looking at the pitchers in this price range who are low owned that I have some interest in. I do have a little bit more than 10% of Brian Wu, so slightly overweight to him. So if you are looking for other pitchers to add to your pool, Brian Wu is somebody who I think is worth consideration. Certainly prefer Ray, Valdez, Skubal more than him, but Brian Wu, he's another consideration for me. Is he somebody you have any interest in for tonight?
Yeah, I like Wu as a pitcher a lot. Like, this range is actually loaded with really good pitchers, even a little bit more expensive. You know, Fried, who are not, necessarily playing here, but like he's a elite pitcher. Joe Ryan, he's coming off a start where he was like 80% owned against the Angels. Chris Bassett's been phenomenal. You talked about Wu, Sonny Gray. All these guys are guys that I think you could potentially get over the field on. I think of all of them, I do like Wu the most because outside of Gray, he's the cheapest, and I like the spot against the Seagerless Texas team. But there's some really good pitchers on this slate, even if I don't love them for DFS purposes.
All right, so let's talk about the pitchers in the 7K range now. And in the 7K range, nobody that we're going to talk about the rest of the time here is popular. This is for a 12-game slate. It's kind of crazy what the pitcher ownership is and how it's breaking down because you just got a few options that are so much more superior than everything else. That everybody's like, yeah, we'll just play these guys and ignore every one of the other like 21 pitchers that are on the slate today. So everything else really contrarian here, Matt. We've got Brian Bayo, Ryan Pepio, Mike Owaka, Ben Brown, Jack Leiter, Grant Holmes. The most popular pitcher in the 7K range is a 6% owned Ben Brown. Is there anything the field is missing out on that's priced around here?
Definitely not, because the expensive guys look really good, and then we've got a cheap guy we'll talk about. So I think this is just a dead zone for me.
Yeah, I have Ben Brown is the pitcher of my top 150 lineups I have the most exposure to, Matt, and that is 3 out of 150 lineups. So 2% ownership for me on Ben Brown, and I don't even have another lineup with a pitcher in the 7K range. And I'm not going to advocate for somebody who barely shows up. It's probably even just running stuff through the Sims. It's like, yeah, this guy just like fits in this price range. And so he's in this lineup. There's no real interest for me in the 7K range. So I think we could go move past this and into the 6K range and below. So we'll include all of these pitchers together, including Gunnar Hoglund, who is only 5% owned. He is 4K pitching against the Miami Marlins. Do you like him or any of these other punt options?
Yeah, I like him a lot. The only thing I'll say, and I'll caution, is I'm expecting him to be significantly higher owned than 5% in smaller field, higher dollar stuff. He's been talked up a lot across the industry. You've got expensive pitchers to pair him with and then expensive bats to use him with. So I don't think he's going to be chalky, but I would be surprised if he's under like 15, 20% in like the higher dollar small field stuff. We'll see. I could be totally off there. I don't care. I'm still going to play him because I think he's too low owned. You look at the top pitcher tool. It's rare to have a guy making his first start this high. Almost a 40% chance of being a top 2 value pitcher on the slate. Yeah, I'm going to take some shots with him here. Do I feel great about it? No. Could he get blown up? Of course. But you couldn't really ask to be dropped in a better spot to make your debut in Miami against this Marlins offense, especially now that the home team he pitches for isn't a real pitcher's park. So, yeah, he walks into just the nut spot, and at 4K, he's too cheap. Doesn't mean it's going to work out, but he is too cheap, and I'm going to play some of him here. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, just the price point itself is going to put somebody in play. I agree with you, probably comes in higher than 5% owned. I don't know that means he's going to be super popular or anything like that. So echoing your sentiments, once again, you and I are pretty much on the same page with everything that's been spoken on today. It is definitely appealing. He's got a 38.7% chance to be a top 2 scoring pitcher on the slate. Who's the second highest? I assume, yeah, Robbie Wright, 18.3%. So at least on a points per dollar rate, I mean, we still got him with more than a double the chance of Robbie Ray to be a top value pitcher. Now, part of that is because at 4K, if he scored 12 fantasy points, it's pretty hard to top that as a more expensive guy. Like 12 fantasy points at 4K on a points per dollar rate, that's the same as Tyreek Skubal scoring, like 33 fantasy points. So from that basis, like Hoglund, just a good points per dollar play. If you look at his minor league numbers this year, 2.43 ERA. He is a 3.98 FIP. He's generating strikeouts as well, 26.1% strikeout rate. And then also he's a pretty well-regarded prospect. He's a little bit older, so it's probably time for him to be called up to the big leagues. He's a 25-year-old pitcher in the minor leagues. And not only is he 25, he actually turns 26 this year. So old to be making his MLB debut, especially as a top prospect. But still, he's the 3rd ranked prospect, just reading off the Fangraphs prospect report. It's not like me handwriting my own reports here and going to these minor league games around the country. With that said, the Somerset Patriots play right down the street from me, so I could walk there if I wanted to. I've never done it though. But so Gunnar Hoglund, 3rd ranked prospect overall in the A's organization. That's good for the 89th ranked prospect per Fangraphs in all of the MLB. And then also he's somebody who was a 1st round pick back in 2021. So once again, he was an older draft pick as well, but he's had a good amount of success in the minor leagues the last couple of years. He's getting his call up to the big leagues now. Projections for him aren't particularly bullish, which is something I do like to look at when these guys first get called up. I like to look at the bat projection on these guys, the steamer projection. Now, Oopsie is another full season projection data source that's been added to Fangraphs, and they all have him as like a high 4, low 5 ERA guy who isn't projected to generate a ton of strikeouts right out of the gate in the majors, which, that is a little bit concerning. But then you also have to consider he's 4K pitching against the Marlins in Miami, which is a really pitcher-friendly park, which is going to kind of supersede some of those projections for me. Like even the crappiest pitchers in the world, like let's look at some of the other pitchers on the slate. You've got, like, who's shittier than Antonio Senzatella?
Right.
And he's $1,000 more expensive than Gunnar Hoglund. You got somebody here like Jonathan Cannon pitching against the Houston Astros. He's $2,300 more expensive. It's just the price point that puts him in play here. And I don't really have it. It's really just the price point, nothing else. It helps that he's a decently ranked prospect. But if you absolutely need to punt a pitcher, he's just very clearly a guy to me.
Yeah, totally. I mean, he stands out. The only thing I'll say, we're on the same page about his ownership and stuff. there is a part of me that is a little bit worried that he's going to be like real popular. And it's easy to pair him with Skubal and stack whatever team you want, the Dodgers, the Yankees. I actually think that I'm projecting him to be higher owned than 5%. I don't know the exact number. I think that ownership might come from Robbie Ray. Like, I don't think Robbie Ray is going to be any higher than we're projecting him. I'll say that.
I don't know off the top of my head the highest owned a pitcher has ever been on a 12-game slate, but this would probably be near the top. Like, I can't think of a time there was like a 70% owned pitcher on a 12-game slate or anything like that. So I tend to agree with you. I think Robbie Ray, if anything, is going to be lesser owned than more owned. And does that impact how you view him in large field tournaments? By the way, in small field single entry stuff and higher dollars, he will be more popular than this in those contests, like the 121 single entry or like the 888. I forget all the other contests that were listed in the lobby today, just I reserved earlier in the day, and then I just have to fill out that lineup for the single entry stuff. But he will be more popular than this in those fields. Would you agree with that?
I think he'll be. I don't think we'll see it like we normally do, where like the top guy is significantly higher owned in those contests, just because I do think ownership's a little bit wacky. Ownership projections are a little bit wacky with Hoagland just being an unknown. MLB debut, projection system, Sims don't really know what to make of him. I think people are going to go out of their way to play him. So I don't think Ray is going to be less owned than this, but I don't necessarily think he's going to be much higher owned like we normally see, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it is like a pretty high number that's already baked in here at 58.6%. So could definitely be the case. I do think that there's a chance he gets to be a little bit more popular.
I could see it coming in at like 60%. I'm with you.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about as far as pitchers go? Anything else that stands out? Like, I know it's a 12-game slate with a lot of options. I think it kind of makes sense to be a little condensed with pitching options, though.
Yeah, no reason not to when the guys that we went into detail about just really stand out. Dean Kramer is too cheap also, in my opinion, just for a guy that we know is stretched out. He's been horrific this year, though, so I'm not excited about playing him. I won't play him. Other than that, not really. I think if you want to get contrarian, you're looking at that like 8 to 9K range with a bunch of just good pitchers that aren't getting love.
I do have a bet on Dean Kramer. I can't say I feel great about it, but based on the odds, and it was just something that was showing up in Portfolio EV, which if you guys do want to sign up for, link down below in the YouTube description box, get a free trial. But I did bet Dean Kramer was plus 200 for over 4.5 strikeouts. It projected well earlier today, and you're getting pretty good long shot odds on a guy who has sucked this year, but hasn't been quite this bad in the past, and has actually been a viable DFS pitcher at times. Not playing him at all in DFS, but for the plus, nearly plus 200 odds at 4.5 strikeouts for a guy who had a 22.2% strikeout rate last year, 21.4% the year before. Like, that to me was a worthwhile bet. But yeah, he's been a train wreck this year. 7.04 ERA, 5.7 expected ERA. So there's definitely merits to stacking against him. But just as an overall recap here, Tyreek Skubal looks pretty good on the high end. Matt and I both like Framber Valdez as a contrarian pitcher, contrarian-ish pitcher. Robbie Ray really popular, but seems more or less warranted. I liked Brian Wu as a single-digit owned pitcher. And then also Matt and I both had some interest in Gunnar Hoagland as a punt option. FanDuel pitchers, we'll talk about the FanDuel side of things, where Robbie Ray is 42% owned, Tyreek Skubal is 18% owned. We've got 9% ownership to Framber Valdez, and who is the next most popular pitcher? Yeah, under 4% ownership to Max Fried and Yamamoto. So FanDuel even more extreme, with Robbie Ray eating up a ton of the ownership, a little bit going to Skubal, some going to Framber Valdez, everybody else pretty much completely contrarian. For yourself, Matt, if you're making one lineup on FanDuel, who would be the pitcher in that lineup?
It's Valdez for me. I mean, I'm just like really high on him today. Ownership's the same. Price is similar. I mean, he doesn't look as good in the tools, but especially on FanDuel here, it's really jumbled. Outside of Skubal and Ray, I mean, there are like 10 guys with a 6 to 4% chance of being the top pitcher on the slate. Give me Valdez here. I'm just going to ride with him on all formats.
Yeah, I think that Framber Valdez relative to his ownership, 9%, definitely sensible. Scooball at 18%. That's also pretty appealing to me. Robbie Ray being 42% owned. Play him in cash games. I would steer clear of him in FanDuel GPPs, though. Like, sure, if you're playing 150 lineups, it would make sense that he makes up some portion of your portfolio. But relative to ownership, I really do prefer Scooball and Framber Valdez over on FanDuel. My personal preference is a little bit more towards Scooball, but Valdez also makes a good amount of sense. Any contrarian pitchers that you're liking for FanDuel? Because it's pretty much all of them.
Yeah, I mean, the one guy I will say that we didn't really talk about on DK either is Chris Bassett. Like, he looks good in the tools, and he's been good this year. So, like, if you told me Chris Bassett was, like, the highest scoring pitcher on the slate, would I be shocked? Would I be surprised? Yes. Would I be shocked? No. He's got that stuff in him, and this Cleveland lineup just doesn't scare me at all. So he's like the one contrarian guy, especially on FanDuel, but really on both sites that I think you can at least look at, if nothing else.
Yeah, and like you said, he has been incredible so far this season. You got Chris Bassett currently with a 2.62 ERA, 3.01 expected ERA, 2.33 FIP, strikeout stuff, 27%. Not going to keep this up. We had kind of a similar conversation. I think it was for his last start and probably the start before that as well. But he's looked great through 6 starts. He's been a good starting pitcher for a very long time. He had a bit of a down season last year, and it seemed like he was probably not going to be a good pitcher anymore after he posted the 4.16 ERA and the 4.52 expected ERA last year. But he's bounced back in a really big way. He's having another solid season. He's been a guy who's been like a 2-3 pitcher in the rotation since 2018 now, back with Oakland when he had a breakout season, because this was a guy who was not really like a well-heralded pitching prospect or anything like that. Really struggled his first few years in the big leagues, and out of nowhere, just kind of broke out and was able to maintain as being a solid guy for a good, like 7-8 years or something like that. And looks like he's extended his career another year here. Anything else you want to add about the pitchers?
Nah, he's changed some pitch mix stuff too. So, like, I'm buying a little bit of what he's selling. Like, he's come back down to earth a little bit, but you're right. He's been phenomenal this year. So, yeah, other than that, I think you're kind of just grasping at straws. There are a bunch of good pitchers on this slate. You talked about Brian Wu. I think you can make similar cases on FanDuel as DraftKings, but nothing that stands out on paper.
And if you guys haven't done yet, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Remember, if you do want to sign up for our MLB Sims Max package, just $1 for a week today, and take advantage of that offer now, because we are going to be ending that in 35 minutes when the slate locks. So if you guys do want to get access to our MLB Sims Max package for just $1, sign up with the promo code Robbie with Robbie Ray Pitching today, ROBBIE, all capital letters. Get yourself access, just $1, MLB Sims Max. Take advantage before the offer ends 35 minutes from now. Ready to talk some stacks, Matt?
Yeah, man, let's get after it. Bunch of good ones.
All right, so loading up the stacks page. Let's see if we've got any questions from Discord. And nope, we just did Einstein asked us about Hoagland, but we spoke on Hoagland. So let's go over the stacks where before at the top, when I brought up Robbie Ray and said I wasn't too afraid of the ownership for DK just because the ownership was kind of spread out. It's become even more spread out, Matt. We don't have a single team pulling more than 9% ownership. Your most popular teams on DK, it's the Kansas City Royals at 8.8%. It's the Los Angeles Dodgers against Grant Holmes at 8.9%. Kramer's been dog shit this year. Grant Holmes looks like Kenny Powers. What's your favorite overall stack on the slate, though? If you're building just one lineup, the I'd enter right now, what's the 5-man stack you'd be going with?
The Athletics. They've been on my good side all season. I like the Dodgers a ton, too, so they were the answer I was going to say. But they are the highest owned team on the slate, and I think that ownership could just be higher. Like I mentioned, if Hoagland's ownership gets higher. So I'm going to say the Athletics. I don't think their ownership moves at all. Tough ballpark, but Belozo stinks. This offense has a ton of power. They're not going to be owned that highly, I should say. They're cheap at the bottom. I like the Athletics a lot here. How about you?
Yeah, so the team I get the most exposure to as a 5-man stack, it is the Kansas City Royals, but, relative to the slate, they are, fairly popular. Here's a team that I'm well overweight to that isn't pulling as much ownership, which this should make Eric happy because I just saw that he popped into chat. But the Minnesota Twins taking on Brian Bayo. Brian Bayo, a pitcher who has just not been able to figure it out. Top pitching prospect from a few years ago. If you the eye test, it seems like he has good stuff. He throws really hard, but it just hasn't equated to results at all over the course of his career. And here's something I like about the Minnesota Twins here, Matt, where I think people might just look at the 3.27 ERA for Bello this year through a couple of starts and go like, hey, maybe he's kind of figuring it out. He's a 7.37 expected ERA and a 6.33 FIP. He is not striking guys out. He is walking guys. He has a high home run to fly ball rate, not just this year, but for his entire career, 14.5% now in 73 big league appearances. We got a guy here, 14.6% K rate. That's terrible. 12.5% walk rate. That's terrible. 28.6% home run to fly ball rate this year. That's terrible. He just has a 92% strand rate. So almost any single time a guy has gotten on base against Bello, he's just kind of managed to not allow those runs to score. He's only made a couple of starts this year. I don't think he's actually going to have like a 7.37 ERA going forward like his expected ERA is, but I'm pretty confident he isn't going to be great this year, and I want to take advantage of it before the field realizes it. So I have two teams that I have double-digit exposure to on this slate, only two. One of them's the Kansas City Royals. The other one's the Minnesota Twins, Matt.
Yeah, they look good here too. I got no arguments with that. I got no problem picking on Bello. So we got Bello and Bellozo here. Pick on both of them.
Yeah, and you brought up Bellozo here, who I looked earlier. I don't know if it still is. His strikeout prop was at 2.5.
That's not good.
Let's see what it is now. That's what it was earlier in the day. Let's see what we've got for him now. It can't have gone down. I can't imagine it's 1.5 now. But let's see. What does FanDuel have right now? Yep, 2.5. 2.5. It's juiced towards the over. Not that it matters all that much. But yeah, this is not a guy who is expected to have all that much success here. We've got the A's with a team total implied of, 5.4 in our projections here. So Vijante Bellozo, I think that's how it's pronounced. He is 25 years old. He's an unranked prospect. He has made a couple of appearances this year. It's only 8 innings, so hard to really pull too much out of it. He made 13 starts last year. We had a 3.67 ERA, but a 5.14 expected ERA, a 5.73 FIP. Minor league results have been okay for him this year, but in the past, he's had some pretty poor minor league results. Last year in AAA, he had a 4.67 ERA and a 5.93 FIP. The year before in minor league ball, he had a 5.55 ERA and a 5.44 FIP. He projects to be pretty poor this year. I like picking on Misaki against him as well, Matt. The A's, they're not one of my 2 most rostered teams, but they are my 4th most rostered team in the Sims.
Love that. Yeah, I like the Twins also, as you talked about. Their lineup is a little bit weaker today, but just makes it cheaper too. Obviously a nice ballpark for them. So, yeah, there are a bunch of good stacks today. So while I mentioned the Athletics and I also talked about the Dodgers, like there are a handful of others that also look really, really good here.
Yeah, and we've got Extra QT says an immovable object versus stoppable force, shitty KC or Bozo. So it's actually for Bellozo is pitching against the Athletics. It is Dean Kramer pitching against the Kansas City Royals, and I'm more so on the Royals side. But we only do have 2 teams that are kind of popular on the slate, Matt, the Royals and the Dodgers. What do you make of these 2 teams and the ownership that's going towards them?
Yeah, so the Dodgers make a ton of sense. I mean, it's the freaking Dodgers in Atlanta, hot weather against Grant Holmes, who puts guys on base. I mean, I think they've won the last 15 slates they've been on, scoring a ton of runs. So the Dodgers, yes. I'm good on the Royals. I mean, Kramer has not been good this year, but the Royals are not a team that hit for a ton of power. They won that slate yesterday. Congrats to them. I'm not going right back there. I mean, they got good hitters in their lineup. I don't think guys like Witt and Pasquantino are bad plays, but as a 5-man stack, at this ownership, no thank you. They're really just getting that love because they're so cheap. And that's just a team I'll happily bypass. How about you?
So like I said, the Royals are one of 2 teams that the Sims are getting me double-digit exposure to. So it's not like my single entry stack or anything. I prefer to go to the Twins for lesser ownership, but the Royals, yeah, I'm getting to them a pretty good amount. The Dodgers, I get to a bunch of as one-offs, but not as a 5-man stack. just the same issue I've had with the Dodgers ever since they assembled this team, where you've got, Teoscar Hernandez is $5,400. Shohei Ohtani is $6,300. Freddie Freeman is $5,900. Mookie Betts is $5,700. And he's only shortstop eligible now. He doesn't have the MPE where, we saw him last year, like shortstop second base or shortstop outfield. Now he's just shortstop. So I like these players from the Dodgers as one-offs, but I find it really hard to make 5-man stacks of them. So best reserve to me is either like playing Ohtani in a lineup, playing Betts in a lineup, or making a 3-man Dodger stack. 5-man Dodger stack, I do find to be a little bit tricky, unless you're just going to be playing, Hoglund for the flat min. Outside of that, which I assume he's probably going to be the pitcher in the majority of Dodger stacks, because it is hard to stack up the Dodgers, even if you're not playing Scuba. Like, even if you're just going with Valdez and Robbie Ray, it's still kind of hard to get to the top 5 guys that we actually want to be playing from the Dodgers. So fine as one-offs, but 5-man stacks. Have you built out 5-man stacks of the Dodgers? Is it easy to get to?
So if you use Hoglund and Valdez, right, and you stack 1 through 5 on the Dodgers, you only have 3,300 left. So the Dodgers for me are where Hoglund becomes in play. I guess the Yankees too, but really the Dodgers.
Let's actually do that right now with the single lineup sim. Somebody was asking us at the top of the show about the MLB lineup generator, which we don't have anymore because we have the MLB single lineup sims, which I think is a much better product. I mean, we all think it's a better product. That's why we chose to enhance this as opposed to working more on the MLB lineup generator. But let's try to make a Dodger stack and see how this goes. So if we put in Ohtani, I guess we'll put Ohtani in the outfield so we can play Freeman at first. So if we go Ohtani, Freeman, Betts, Teoscar Hernandez, and then who's the 5th Dodger we want to go with? Will Smith, Andy Pages?
Smith looks good, I think.
Okay. So let's go Will Smith. And then I won't even put in any pitchers. We'll just complete the lineup. We'll just have it optimized for us for the rest of it. We've already got a 5-man Dodger stack built out. Press the optimize button. It gave us Jose Soriano as a pitcher in this lineup with Robbie Ray. And then we got, Michael Massey. We got Seth Brown in the lineup, as well as Ernie Clement. Let's see what happens if we run a sim with this 5-man Dodger stack and just the optimally projected players around it. Actually ended up being okay. 18.6% sim ROI. All right, not bad. Let's see what happens if we take Soriano out and replace him with Hoglund. We'll take out the other pieces. All right, so if we go to Hoglund at 4K, and then if we optimize around this, we ended up getting to David Hamilton, Ernie Clement, and Brent Rooker in the other spots. Let's simulate this lineup. Also came out okay, 15.1% sim ROI. So it's doable, but you have to be playing one cheap pitcher, which Hoglund, yeah, we talked about at top, I'm okay with. The lineup with Jose Soriano, I'm a little bit light on. So it's doable. It's just hard to make it fit. And I am concerned, Matt, that what percentage of Dodger stacks are going to have Hoglund at pitcher today?
Yeah, I'm concerned with it also. I'm not selling my soul for it, but I'm playing a little of it because I just think the Dodgers look really good. But I'm with you. I think the Dodgers and the Yankees are going to be the 2 teams that he's used with. That's part of the reason I like the Athletics the most.
Makes sense. Makes sense to me. And now let's talk about some of the other stacks on the slate where we've talked about a team that we like for single entry. I like the Twins. You said that you like the A's. We talked about the popular stacks and the Dodgers and the Royals. Are there any other teams that are sticking out to you as an offense for tonight?
Yeah, a couple teams I also like are the Giants quite a bit here. Rough park, and on a big slate like this, you won't often hear me talk about the Giants being a top stack, but against Senzatella, who doesn't miss any bats, and them not getting ownership at good price tags, I like San Francisco a good amount here, at least the top half of the lineup. I don't think you have to get too weird with it. They're a team that really stands out as far as being in a great spot and not getting ownership with good price tags. That's a great combination right there. The only thing you don't like is the ballpark, but if they could check all the boxes, then they'd be higher owned. So it makes sense. Again, I think there are a bunch of good stacks on this slate. The Yankees against Pepio. Pepio is good, but the Yankees are better. Obviously have a ton of power there. Houston is a team I'm personally not crazy high on because I think Cannon is better than the projection systems give him credit for, but he's not good. And Houston, ballpark upgrade, not great hitting weather, but they've got great hitters. So don't mind some Astros. And I guess the other one that I guess you have to call out is, or the other two I'll call out are the Cubs, because they're really good facing Alexander and Priester. So whatever combination of those two you get, I'm not too worried about it as far as the Cub stack goes. And then the Jays. Logan Allen is not good. The Guardians bullpen is not nearly as dominant as it was last year. They got off the schneid late yesterday with a Vlad home run after Tanner Houck, who I was high on, pitched a really good game. I don't expect the same success for Logan Allen here. So Toronto's a little bit overowned, but not to a degree I'm overly worried about it. Give me some Jays here.
I agree with you on the Giants. I don't have like a crazy amount of them, but I have 6% of them. So it's a contrarian stack that I'm getting to. What does Senzatella have on this team? Because, I mean, he's been dog shit for forever now. And they keep throwing him out there every single year. He hasn't had an ERA below, he had a 4.7 ERA in 2023. He did, I believe, tear his ACL that year, so he only made 2 starts. But he has been a below replacement level pitcher, like negative wins above replacement every single year since 2022. So, like, I don't really understand why he's still pitching. He's in his 30s now. He's been terrible for forever. He's made 6 starts this year. He has a 5.22 ERA, a 7.58 expected ERA, a 5.89 FIP. His he's completely incapable of generating swing and misses, Matt. He has a career strike rate of 15%, and it's at 9.5% so far this year. To his credit, at least he doesn't walk people. He just throws the ball over the middle of the plate and just hopes for the best. So no strikeouts, no walks for him. He's got a 3.6% walk rate to go with that 9.5% strikeout rate. But he just does not belong at the big leagues at all to me. Let me see.
He stinks.
Let me see it. Even when I was curious, when he's made rehab starts in the minor leagues, I was like, how have these gone? How have his rehab starts in the minor leagues gone? 2024 in the minor leagues. This is in when he was rehabbing. 5.29 ERA, 4.31 FIP. In Double-A, when he was doing rehab starts last year, 6.17 ERA, 3.89 FIP. Can you imagine how annoying it must be if you're a minor leaguer, you're trying to work your way up to the big leagues, and it's like, oh, here's an MLB veteran pitcher here who comes in, and everybody hits him, and it's like, how come this guy gets an MLB job and like we can't? Because even when he's made re-up starts in minor leagues, it's all gone terrible. 2023 in AAA, 9.95 ERA. 2022 in Double-A, 5 ERA. Like anywhere this guy's pitched. 2019 in AAA, 5.77 ERA, 6.71 FIP. The guy sucks everywhere he pitches, and he just continually gets opportunities. So I think he's definitely worth stacking against here.
I completely agree.
So that's somebody who I have some interest in for sure. And one more time, guys, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, helps us out a whole bunch, helps keep this content free. Are there any leverage stacks you like for today? Are you willing to stack against Robbie Ray or Tyreek Skubal as the only 2 popular pitchers of the night?
So 2 leverage stacks I have interest in. I'm not going to play either of them. I'm only playing 5 lineups, so not teams I'm going to get to. But the 2 I would play if I were making more are definitely Miami. I mean, I'm high on Hoagland here, but you said it best. We're high on him because he's 4K, not because he's projected to be some ace. Like, he could suck tonight, and the Marlins could just go off on him, and they're not going to be owned, and he is going to be owned. So that's number 1, I think, pretty clearly. Number 2, and again, I don't know if I would stack them. I almost think just like not playing Ray is the better move. But the Rockies, Ray puts guys on base. Even we saw against Chris Sale the other day. Sale had a ton of strikeouts, but they hit a home run or 2. They run a little bit. So it's the Marlins for me. Big drop off. Then the Rockies. Absolutely no interest in the Angels or the White Sox for me.
Yeah. Totally how I see it as well. Oftentimes when pitchers are this popular, I consider stacking against them. But the problem is the pitchers like Robbie Ray, he's not the best. He is blow up prone for sure. But this Rockies offense is so shitty when you take them out of Coors Field that it's hard for me to make a case for them. The Angels offense, I don't want to be rostering them against Tyreek Skubal. And the White Sox offense is also terrible against Framber Valdez. And you're getting leverage stacking anybody else. Every other pitcher is low owned on the entire slate. So there aren't any leverage spots that are really standing out to me. Let's see. What is the lowest owned offense? that I have some interest in. Let's sort here by ownership. See, are any of these 2% owned team, like the Rays against Max Fried? No. The Rangers against Brian Wu. That's also a no for me. The Cardinals, the Tigers. Yeah, I don't have any of these 2% owned offenses in my portfolio in any kind of meaningful way, Matt. Any other final offenses you want to add to the conversation?
I don't think so. I mean, there are a bunch of just good offenses that aren't going to get a lot of love, but I think that the teams, getting love are deserved of such love. I guess Milwaukee would be one that I'm slightly interested in. They're pretty low owned against Ben Brown. The only teams getting like microscopic ownership though are the teams I just don't have any interest in.
Yeah, that's how I see it as well. The teams that are unowned, I think they're unowned for pretty good reason. So not spots that I'm looking to go to. Let's see if we have any questions from Discord waiting for us. If not, you and I could do some dong picks, and then we'll give some time back to the people. Let's see, Discord. All right, we have Sal. So Sal says, he's asking, would we fade Looney? Well, I'm not playing him in baseball today. That's fair. By the way, there is going to be an NBA show tonight. It's just later because of when the games start. So game is at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So there's going to be NBA Live Before Lock from 8:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. So don't worry, there's going to be an NBA show later. So check that out later, Sal. I haven't built out lineups for the NBA slate to really know what it is that I would be getting to as of now. Don't Be Soy says that he is out of the loop today. Are there any real weather concerns? Matt, any games that you're fading due to the weather? The real weather game is already locked and wasn't on the main slate.
Yeah, no, I think we're honestly pretty good there, which is nice.
Yeah, so I did have some unders in the Washington-Cincinnati game, which I know Eric did as well because we were texting about it. What we were hoping for was that they were going to start the game on time and then it would start raining in like the second or third inning and the pitchers would have to come out and we would have unders on Mitchell Parker and Hunter Green, but they started the game in a rain delay, so it ended up not being the case that we ran into. It looks like that game could even end up being canceled. But anyway, yeah, for the games that are on the main slate, no real weather concerns for me. So Don't Be Soy, you should be good to go. So now, Matt, let's talk some dongs. Time to give out our homer picks of the day. So I'm going to give out one. Matt's going to give out one. And we will also be reading out some of the home run picks from chat. So let us know in the YouTube chat who you guys are picking to go yard today. But Matt, it is time for the dong of the day. Who are you picking to homer tonight?
I'm going completely off the board here. A guy no one is going to choose with probably some of the longest odds for a home run today. Almost unplayable on DraftKings because he's 4,200 hitting ninth. But this guy has legit hate in his heart for the Guardians for getting traded. Andres Jimenez going yard out of the 9-hole.
Ooh, okay. Okay. All right, let me look
because
at
why
not? My exposures here. Let's see. Who do I want to pick to homer? Oh, all right. Here's a reasonable one. Here's somebody I like a lot as a one-off who's not crazy popular. Yordan Alvarez against Jonathan Cannon. It has been a not very Yordan start to the season. He got off to a super slow start. If memory serves correct, he also got off to a pretty slow start last year. I'm not concerned. Sure, it's an 87 WRC plus, but Yordan Alvarez, 168 WRC plus last year. The years before, 170 WRC plus, 185, 137, 157, 177. He has never had an entire year of his career where he's had a WRC plus below 137. He's going to be fine going forward. He's probably going to finish the year with 30-plus homers. And give me Yordan Alvarez as a buy low. He's also going to be more expensive than 5K going forward. I like the matchup. I like the park. So Yordan Alvarez at modest ownership. That is somebody who I am picking to go yard today. I also have a little bit more than 2x the field on him. Let's see what YouTube chat has. From chat, Michael Henry is going with Tyler Soderstrom. Casey Leatherwood. Casey has Bo Bichette to get on the board with not one but two homers tonight. Comment God has got Brent Rooker. BD is going with Juan Soto. Myron Kidd has got Bo Naylor. Steven Leibowitz going with Alejandro Kirk. We've got a bogey, not a home run pick, but just says that he is. Oh, never mind. He deleted the message. He was saying he couldn't figure out how to sign up. Well, if you did, I assume he deleted it because he figured it out. But what you did, just click on the link down below in the YouTube description box, sign up for the Sims Max weekly package, and at checkout, enter the promo code Robbie, ROBBIE, and that'll get you access for just the $1 there. That's how you go ahead and do that. If you do have any other issues, just message me. Promo code, by the way, if you guys want to take advantage of it, the promo code is going to be coming down in 20 minutes. So take advantage of the Robbie promo, get access to our Sims Max package for just $1 for a week. Red Kell is going with Kurtz. I feel like Red Kell has picked Kurtz like 3 times this year. We've got Nicholas Barrett going with PCA, Mike Yastrzemski. I almost said Carl Yastrzemski for a second. David Wayne has got Yastrzemski and Rooker. We've got Mark here going with Goodman. Taco Bell is going with Cody Bellinger. Kid Kobe has got Doyle, Jordan Beck, and Goodman. Boy, a lot of people picking on that San Francisco game. Aaron Hines has got Teoscar Hernandez. That's the Malukar special from last year. I think Malukar picked Teoscar Hernandez, I think like 25 of the first 30 slates of last year. And I pointed out once, and I think he never picked him again. So Malukar, you're allowed to pick Teoscar Hernandez. Joe has got Jose Ramirez. Game Rock is going with Tim Anderson. Oh, okay. Matty Ice has got Soderstrom. Keys has got Ryan Mountcastle. We've got Bregman from Steven Breton. Vlad from CJ the Great. Paul Goldschmidt from Keith Woodford. You know, you're reaching the end of these where people try to one-up each other because Keith has picked Paul Goldschmidt for 3 homers today. Augustin Ramirez is picked from Barnaby O'Toole. We got Suzuki as a pick from our guy Jason Tiberio. Ketel Marte from Game Rock as well. Pete Crow Armstrong from Sam Berg. Alec Burleson from Zachary. Teoscar Hernandez from Matthew Cummings. And one final super chat here. So let's answer Jorge's super chat, and then we will close out with this. Jorge wants to know, what is our favorite low-owned and chalk stack/pitcher combination for the GPP $11? Okay. So favorite low-owned pitcher and favorite low-owned stack. My favorite low-owned pitcher is, let's see, let's say Framber Valdez. We'll count him for that. Fair enough? Framber Valdez?
Yeah, totally. Just yeah, my favorite overall pitcher, lower owned, whatever, is Valdez. And the guy that I'm getting more on, as we've talked about it, that's really low owned, is Chris Bassett.
Okay. All right. And then for contrarian offense, that's the Twins for me. Matt, your favorite contrarian offense?
I'm going to say the Athletics. I think they count here.
Okay. And my favorite chalk offense is the Royals. There isn't like real chalk at offense, though. Do you have a favorite chalk? I mean, it's like the Dodgers. And
yeah, it's the
They're
Dodgers
8.8 and 8.2% owned.
Yeah, the Dodgers for me, but I'm totally with you. It's not like we're approaching anything like NBA ownership or anything like that.
Yeah, no real chalk at offense, but yeah, like the Royals, if I had to choose one, but there's only 2 teams that are more than 8% owned, and they're both sub 9% owned. And that is going to do it for us today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, take advantage of that Robbie promo because it's going to be turning off in 15, 20 minutes now. So guys, once again, thanks for watching. Have a good weekend. And we don't know what the NBA schedule is going to be this weekend, but we'll be seeing you at some point. So enjoy the time off this weekend if you're not playing as much DFS because of later NBA, but you guys are here for MLB, so you'll probably be playing some baseball this weekend. See you later. Peace.